Hey everyone! Welcome back to the video on my Storytime channel. So I'm going to read Chapter 9 of Soccer Duel by Matt Christopher on page 60. Okay, let's continue then. Rennie had practice later that Saturday afternoon. He came all psyched up to play. Becoming friends with Bryce McCormack was so cool, someone who is into sports as much as Rennie was, and a great athlete too. Well, maybe they weren't really friends yet, but Bryce had given him all those good tips, and Rennie was eager to try them out in practice. So it bothered him when he noticed that his teammates seemed to be acting down in the dumps. They were only half trying during the first set of drills, and no one was saying much of anything. Rennie couldn't understand it. They'd been playing so well, and now they were just one victory from the playoffs. Why should any of them be down? He wondered what could be bothering them. So during a break, leaned against one of the goalposts, listening to some of his teammates talking. The Orange Crush are dirty players, said Chuck Matthews, the team's goalie. Last time we played them, the Turk Walters kept crashing into me on purpose when the refs weren't looking. I finally complained to the ref and he stopped doing it, but only because he knew he couldn't get away with it. What did they beat us by? Jordan Wu asked. 7-2, and that was when we had Isaac, Chuck replied. We better hope for a miracle, Jordan said. How is Isaac's ankle? Forget it. Anyway, Rennie's doing just as well, or better even. Yeah, but Rennie might be a fluke. What's it been, 2 games? He was a sub all season, just like me. Good old Jordan, Rennie thought sourly. Always good for a dark comment. Anyway, what's the use in talking about it, Jordan continued. We're going to get crushed by the crush unless a miracle happens. Rennie tossed his paper cup into the trash bag and turned to the 2 boys. You know, you guys are already whipped, he said. Just because they beat us once and they're bigger than us doesn't mean we can't win. We have to win, otherwise we're out of the playoffs. Duh, Jordan said. And your point is? My point is we got to believe we can win or we can't, Rennie said hotly. We've got to make them scared of us instead of the other way around. Oh, right, Chuck snorted. How does Just do that? Have you seen them? They look like college kids. Well, for one thing, we use our speed advantage. If we stay far away from each other and use long passes, keep them in one-on-one situations, they'll have a hard time keeping up. Yeah, when they start fouling us, Henry Wilkes asked. The midfielder had come up to them in mid-conversation and now spoke up for the first time. Do some acting, fall down and scream and grab your arm. Draw the foul, Rennie said. Henry and Chuck looked at each other and grinned. Hey, you know what? That's pretty cool, Henry said. And there are other things we can do, Rennie said, warming to his subject. Like what? Chuck asked, interested now. Like we can force them to play in their own end. Yeah? Sure. What if first thing we kick the ball way down to in their end, then put pressure on them using our speed advantage. Every time we get the ball, just kick it as far as we can toward their goal, then rush the ball, try to rattle them. It's risky, Henry pointed out. We could get caught out of position. Let's just try it once to start the game, okay? Rennie suggested. Shouldn't we ask Coach McMaster? Jordan wondered. Suddenly it was his plan too. Rennie noticed. I'll run it by him, Rennie agreed. But you guys, you gotta think positive. You've got to think positive, okay? Let's keep the crush off balance from the opening whistle. Like you said, we can't beat them by playing our usual way, and we've got to beat them one way or another. Henry and Chuck looked at each other, then nodded. They bumped fists with Rennie on it. Even Jordan Wu stuck his hand in. And don't let me hear any more whip dog talk, Rennie said. Okay, Captain, Henry said with a grin. Crush the crush. Yeah, Chuck said. All right, Rennie said, and ran off to talk to the coach about his idea. Captain. Henry had called him captain. Of course he wasn't really team captain. Isaac Mendez was. For the past 2 games, he'd been the team's scoring leader, its spark plug, keeping them in the playoff hunt in spite of the real captain's injury. It was fine with Rennie they wanted to call him captain. Where was Coach McMaster anyway? Rennie looked around and spotted him at the other end of the field with some other players. Rennie ran toward them. All of a sudden, a hulking red-haired figure stepped out from behind a tree by the side of the field. Harding. From behind a tree by the side of the field. Harding. It was Turk Walters, the kid in the Orange Crush who had smacked Chuck Matthews the last time the 2 teams played each other. Rennie didn't like the look of this at all. What did Turk want with him? Rennie decided to keep going. Hi, Turk, he said as he went by. Can't talk now. Yo, Harding, I'm talking to you, Turk yelled, grabbing Rennie by the shoulder and spinning him around to face him. Look, I'm in the middle of practice, Rennie said, trying not to panic. What do you want? I only need a minute, Turk said with a smile. I just wanted to let you know. Tomorrow, you're dead meat. He held tightly onto Rennie's shoulder, squeezing a little. Rennie winced. What do you mean? He asked, his voice quivering a little. I hear you're the new big man on the Blue Hornets, and it's my job to cut big men down to size, okay? Rennie winced again as Turk's grip grew even tighter. You better be prepared to get slammed around, Turk said. Because if you come in my way, I'm going to stop you stone cold. Long as you play fair, Rennie said, trying in vain to pull away. Fair? Turk smiled, even laughed a little to himself. Yeah, I heard of that. It rhymes with square. See you tomorrow, punk. You better be ready. With a shove, Turk released Rennie and moved off into the shadow of the trees. Rennie watched him disappear. He was shaking with anger and fear. Should he tell Coach McMaster what Turk had just said? No, then the coach might pull Rennie from center striker position just to avoid any possible trouble. Rennie decided to say nothing. He went over to where his stuff was at the side of the field. He gathered it all up, then started to walk home. Coach and the others would wonder why he'd left early, but Rennie didn't care. All the energy had been drained out of him by his encounter with Turk Walders. Suddenly, he was even more afraid of the orange crush than his teammates had been. Come on, suck it up, he told himself, still shaking all over. He's not really going to do anything. Yet deep inside, Rennie wasn't so sure. Turk had a reputation for playing rough, and he'd come right out and threatened Rennie. Rennie told himself not to back down. He just hoped that when the time came, he'd have the courage to stand his ground or fire. That's what Bryce McCormack would do, he reminded himself. So yeah, that's chapter 9 of Soccer Duel by Matt Christopher. Pages 60 to 67. Take care, everybody. Another video from my Storytime channel.